What I love most is telling stories. My whole career has been, I suppose, one movie. Each movie that I do, I think the storytelling gets a little more refined. What I like is that evolving growth that never seems to stop. The first time I read a script, I start seeing images, but I try not to write any of that down. If I stop and write down my thoughts, I'll not necessarily appreciate the flow of the script. I'm looking at what's happening with the characters, the narrative, what each scene is about, in as close a manner as the audience might. I think DPs are one of the few that really understand each individual shot's contribution to the larger telling of the story, where many on the set do not. Actors tend to think quite a bit about what the scene is doing for the character, and directors are looking at the scene, working on a scene level, and a cinematographer, I think, is always looking at how can each shot speak and inform the rest of the film. The second time I read the script, I start writing and drawing. If I talk to a director early and about every scene of a film, I find that I get a lot more of a pure narrative interpretation from the director. He wants the camera to fly to 1,000 feet. I'll have no idea how to actually do that, but I'll just write it down. That's something we want. What I'll know more is the reasons why. The visual storytelling is constantly evolving. What's most important is setting up your major storytelling and why you're making certain decisions, why a scene needs a certain effect or a certain camera participation. I think the learning in film sort of simplified digital and simplified a lot of the how I use the equipment. When I look for equipment, it's usually looking for reliability, the way the equipment is serviced, the relationship I have with the people that I get the equipment from kind of means more to me than the complexity of the equipment, really, because those people are my partners, they're my collaborators. And that sets me up to be more of a storyteller rather than a technician, I think. Some of the help I get from Panavision would be, they're just as helpful on the tiny projects as they are on the huge ones. I started working with Panavision in 1989, and it was an anamorphic film. There was a person who worked there named Bob Harvey. So he called me and said, you're going to shoot an anamorphic project. I want to come in and talk to you about the best way to do that. I thought to myself, he's given me information that will allow me to not make a mistake in front of a lot of famous people, and I really appreciated that. That was my introduction. Greyhound, I wanted to have the feeling of the 40s in it, but I needed a large format camera. I paired up the DXL and the Sphero 65s. There's Tom Hanks. So Practical has this kind of natural glow to it, and it was just lovely. It was lovely as can be, and it's those lenses melded all those edges, and it was just magic. The best advice I've received is you learn from your mistakes, not your successes. Cinematographers make mistakes all day long. Even though it sounds negative, it's really not. You focus on negatives, but you get very much a positive result. To us, we're still young, we're still learning. That pursuit of telling a meaningful story is what keeps me going, I think.